use the balls today, and we're gonna start standing. Okay, so don't get comfortable. Okay, so I just want you guys to stand comfortable on your feet, hip distance at the end of your mat. Okay, and you want your feet parallel, and we're gonna start with just a little bend in the knees. Okay, and hands are going to the top of the ball. So as we press out, I just want you to let the hands roll right over the top. So the ball is going to come more up to the back side of the arm, and you're going to bend into the knees, and maybe your forehead even comes down to the ball, and push your tail, hips out behind you, really reach through the hands, and then nice and slow with a little pressure into the top of the ball, pull the belly up, straighten the legs, and draw the ball back. Using the hands, I want you to push down into the hands, bend into the knees, let the ball go out. Drop the chest, pull the shoulders open, reach through the hands, bend into the knees, and stand up tall in the legs, pull the ball in, curl, push down into the ball so you get that deep connection to the belly. Bend into the knees, press it out. We're going to go 2 more like this. So really try to straighten the spine as you push the ball away, and try to press down into the ball and round as you come in. And here's 2, we got 1 more. Reach through those arms, press those shoulders open. So you're trying to push the chest down to the floor. And we'll go out 1 more time. So stretch as big as you can. And then bring the ball back in, straighten the legs, but don't come off the ball yet. I'm gonna have you take your left hand more to the center of the top of that ball and take the right hand just right behind the pelvis, okay? Little bend in the knees, a tiny rotation here. So as you push the ball out, I want you to rotate away from the arm that's pushing. Open up the shoulders, maybe look up to the elbow behind you, and then come back to center and pull the ball in and press it out. We're going to bend the knees this time as we press away, rotate, and then pull the ball in. We got 2 more like that. So try to work on kind of opening up that side waist of the arm that's on the ball. And round, we'll go 1 more like that. Push it out, flatten the back, really reach those fingers across the room and round and come back in, and we'll switch sides. So we'll do 4, okay? So the pressure into that ball, we've got the right hand on the top, a little bend in the knees, left hand behind the pelvis, press it out, bend into the knees. And as you push away, really try to open up to that lat area, that tricep area. Straighten the arms, round, come in, and bend. Keep the belly tight. Just rotate as much as you feel comfortable. And last one. Okay. And come back in. We're going to open up our feet wider than the mat to a second position. So external toes apart, maybe the heels are touching the edge of the mat. We're going to press the ball away, keeping a flat back and long legs, and we're going to walk the ball over toward the right side, okay? So you're reaching to the right, ball is kind of in front of that right foot, and you're dropping the chest, but for this one, I want you to really straighten the legs, press the hips out behind you, drop the chest, round and come in. We'll go 1 more time that way. Press it out. So you're trying to keep those legs as long as you can. Let the head relax, the neck relax, come on in, walk the ball back through center, go out to the other side. So now ball is right in front of the left foot, and you're gonna press away as you pull the hips out. So whatever side you're on, you should feel that hamstring, your legs are straight. Come in, we'll go out 1 more time there, press it out. And then come back in. And now we're going to sit on the ball. Okay, so I am going to face kind of on a diagonal, but you guys sit however comfortable you are, okay? So we'll just do some side stretching and some neck, and then we'll move on, okay? So find that center top of that ball where you're comfortable. You feel like you're balanced. You don't have to work, okay? Not a lot of pressure in the feet. And then we're going to take the hands just to the knees, okay? Or around the knees, whatever works, top of the thighs. You're going to lead with that tailbone, okay? So as you round, you're going to hollow the belly out and kind of shift the tailbone forward and kind of work from the lowest part of the spine up into that curl. And then round and sit up tall, pull the ball back underneath you, okay? Curl, exhale. Let the chin fall to the chest, pull the belly in, And then draw the ball back in, sit up tall. We'll go 2 more. Round, tuck, pulling the belly tight, pulling the ribs back. And really trying to open up that lowest part of the spine. Hi.
Hi.
Round. Oh, shoot. And sit up tall. And that one may be way too big for you. Round. Round. And sit up tall. Okay, so now hands are going to the outer part of the ball. Hello, Ann.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
I'm sorry. It's okay. Yes, no.
Okay, so this time we're going to pull that right hip toward our right shoulder with a curl. So you're going to curl over toward that right. So you're hollowing out that right side, trying to draw that right hip up to the right shoulder. You're going to sit up tall. We'll stay on that side. Okay, 2 more. Curl. So shifting the ball over toward the right, just trying to shorten that right waistline. 1 more time. Lift. Curl, and you can use the arm to draw yourself even deeper into that curl, and we'll go the other way. Okay, so I'm taking my right hand onto my thigh, other arm to the outside of the ball. Curl that waistline, trying to pull that hip right up to the shoulder, and then sit up tall. And 2 more. Exhale. And inhale, last one. Curl. Okay, good, and sit up tall. Okay. So we'll do some rotation. We're going to take the hands behind the head. Elbows are going to be wide. I'm going to have you rotate toward the right first on an exhale, trying to keep this ball as still as you can, okay? So elbows are wide, shoulders are down, and you're almost using, kind of pushing the head into the hands. As you exhale, rotate to the right, keep those elbows pulling behind you, and then come back to center, and we'll go the other way. Rotate to the left. Remember, don't let the elbows collapse in. Keep those shoulders as wide as you can, and your ball is still, so we're not shifting. And inhale, belly is tight, and you're only moving from the rib cage up. And we'll go 1 more time to the left. And come back to center. All right, and we're gonna have some fun. Well, that was fun. Okay, all right. So I'm going to have you guys, we're going to scooch ourselves kind of to the back side of your mat, okay, or one end of your mat, I should say. And we're going to go into kind of just a little warm up of the upper abs, okay? So if you're seated at the edge of that mat, we're going to walk our feet forward, and we're going to bring that ball to our center of our shoulder blades, okay? And hands are going to go behind the head. And you should be able to keep your head on the ball, all right? So your head should be kind of resting, right? Middle, upper back on the top of the ball, and head is almost kind of extended up and over maybe the ball, the backside. My hips are high, okay? I'm pushing down into my feet, and I'm gonna try my hardest not to let this ball move. I'm pushing my hips and pelvis up to the ceiling, and I'm just gonna curl on an exhale, tucking chin to chest, but keeping my hips high. And then I'm going to roll down, okay? So to stay out of the neck or pulling on the neck or pulling on the head, I'm trying to keep my fingers kind of as wide as I can around the back side of my head. And as I curl up, I'm pulling my ribs together and down and pushing into my feet to keep my hips as still as I can. So I'm not moving, I'm really squeezing my glutes to keep my hips high. And I'm exhaling, tucking chin to chest, looking to the belly, maybe looking to the tops of your knees. They should be right out, straight out from the shoulders, and everyone here looks really good. Awesome. 2 more. Squeezing the butt. And hold it on this last one, okay? So you're pushing the pelvis up, you're squeezing the cheeks, and you're gonna just pulse up without moving the ball and without bouncing, and definitely not pulling on the head. 5, 4, lifting from heart center. Here's 2 and 1. And let yourself rest, let your tail kind of curl down around that ball and just take a break. We're gonna add the pelvic lift now to this work, okay? So my pelvis is now low, my tail is kind of wrapped around that outer part of the ball or the other side of the ball. My head is wrapped around opposite of my tail. So I'm almost like a big arc over the top of the ball, okay? Take that inhale, and as you exhale, make sure those ribs tighten up, pulling down into the ball, and lift the hips, lift the chin, look down to the knee hole. And inhale, let it all go. And exhale, push down to lift the pelvis up. Inhale, lower it all down. Exhale, keeping the ball as still as you can. I want you to feel like you're almost pulling the ribs right down into the top apex of that ball, so it's not moving. And you're exhaling as you lift. We're going to go for 5. Think more almost of a glute warm up here. Just a little curling in the spine, pulling the ribs down. 2, I think I added 1, of course. Curl. And here's your last one. Hold it up and pause. Okay, so I'm light with my hands behind my head. I'm curled and pulling my belly in. I'm just going to let my pelvis go down a little bit and squeeze it up and lower and squeeze. And I'm trying to keep the ball as still as I can. So I'm really pulling my ribs down, pulling my ribs together. 4. And here's 3. And here's 2. Lift the chest a little higher. And last one. And roll it down. And let yourself kind of flop over the top of the ball. So I'm going to let my chest open, my feet are comfortable wide on the mat, and I'm just relaxing on the ball. Okay. So from here, we're going to come down seated on the floor, and we're going to switch it up. So I'm going to have you guys now lay over the top of your ball, okay? So we warmed up our backside a little bit. I'm going to come kneeling. I'm not going to stay on my knees, though. We'll kneel at the edge of our mat. Bring the ball as close as you can to the thighs, okay? And we're going to walk ourselves out. So as I drop my chest down to the top of the ball, I'm going to walk myself out a little bit, and I'm going to adjust. So what I want is the hands are almost touching that side of the ball, right? And I'm going to try and wrap my body around the top of that ball. And I'm going to come down to my forearms, okay? So my head, my forehead is resting on my clasped fingers. I'm making kind of a tripod with my elbows and my hands. Now I'm going to cross my ankles behind me. You pick the cross. Just remember which one is crossed on top of the other, okay? Because you know we always have to have balance. So without moving the ball, I'm going to open up my knees as wide as I can, wrapped around the outer part of my ball if I can, kind of like a big clam. And then my ankles are crossed. I'm going to pull my feet apart. So I'm using my feet kind of like hooks, right? And they're wrapped and hooked around each other. So my knees are wrapped around the ball. My thighs are wrapped around the ball. Now I'm going to lift, squeezing, lifting the knees up away from the ball, squeezing the glutes, and then lowering down and relaxing. Okay. Exhale, squeeze up. So while you're here, you want to pull your belly away from the ball. And you're just relaxing over the outer part of the ball as you let it go, and then squeezing, pulling the ankles apart, okay? So lifting from the glutes, the outer part of the glutes, the glute med, trying to keep the hips as still as you can, pulling the belly away, pushing the pelvis into the ball to stay out of your low back, okay? So you'll find where it works for you, keeping the ankles pulling apart, all right? So keep that pull. I'm going to go for 4. And here's 3. Remember that low abdominal connection. The pelvis is pushing into the ball. Here's 2. And hold it up on this last one and pause, okay? Without bouncing on the top of the ball, we're going to pulse the knees up, pulling the ankles apart, pulling the feet apart. Little slow pulses. 4. Belly is tight. 2. 1, release the ankle cross, stretch the legs out. Now cross the ankles the opposite way, and we're going to repeat, okay? So let the knees fall, let the thighs fall, and wrap around the outer part of the ball. Ankles are pulling apart. We're going to squeeze the knees up and wrap and lower. Exhale, pull those ankles apart. Try to keep your ball still. We're not bouncing our legs off the ball. And we're really drawing those knees open, pulling our ankles apart, pulling with the feet. Belly is tight. Go for 5, squeeze it up. The harder you pull those legs apart, the more work it's gonna be. There's 3 and 2. Keep the belly lifted and the hips pushing into the ball. And last one, hold it up here and little pulses up. So tiny lift of the knees, pulling those feet apart, trying not to bounce. 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower the knees down. Press yourself back and take a break. Okay. So we're gonna just forward or stay on our knees and kind of get into that child's pose, or like Patty over there, that's perfect. Okay, so I like that one too. Flop over the top of your ball. All right, so I'm gonna come down to my knees. I'm gonna walk the ball away. I'm gonna drop my chest down to the floor, let my head fall, relax. And then round the spine, tuck the tail, walk the ball back in. We'll go out one more time, okay? So walk it out, drop the chest down, let the head fall, really push that ball away. And then round the spine and come on in. And we're gonna come down to a laying down position, okay? So we're gonna take the ball into our hands. I'm gonna scoot down to where my feet are at one end, my head is going to the other, and I'll be holding my ball. Make sure you have room above your head, although it doesn't have to be a ton, okay? So from here, I'll just gracefully lower down and come on down to the floor. We're not gonna lift our head here for this first part, okay? So square off the shoulders with the ceiling, get your pelvis in that neutral position where you have that little space between your like lowest part of your back, that little natural curve. We're gonna bring the ball straight up to the ceiling. We're gonna bring our knees to a tabletop, okay? So my shoulders are pulling down to the mat. My chin is tucked. I'm in my tabletop position. And I'm gonna take an inhale. And as I inhale to prepare, I'm gonna exhale, shoot my legs straight out as my arms go up a little over maybe head. And then bring it right back to that start. So it's small. And you're gonna exhale just to make sure you're flattening out that belly as the legs extend so you have support of your spine. And you're inhaling, it's not a big movement and it's very slow and isolated in one part of your abdominals. So, well, not one part, I should say. From the rib cage to that pelvic floor, the lower the legs go, the more work it'll be, right? So if you feel the back start to kick in because the ball adds a little weight overhead, just extend the legs up higher to the ceiling. And then go for 4. Trying to keep those shoulder blades connected. Here's 3. And exhale, 2, ribs are tight. And last one, hold it here and pause. Long arms, long legs coming up together. Don't worry about touching the legs to the ball. Keep the tail down and then lower both arms overhead, legs lower. Exhale up for this one. Inhale down. If you're keeping neutral, the pelvis should not be rocking or tipping. If you're imprinted, it shouldn't move either. You just want to make sure you're trying to keep that pelvis still. Here's 3. Inhale, lower. And 2, shoulders are down. And 1. And bend the knees, set the feet down, and take a quick break. All right, good, very good, 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 good. All right, so we're gonna add on to that. We'll go back and we'll start with that tabletop leg, arms up, extended to the ceiling, palms are on the outer part of the ball, a little hug into the ball, 2, shoulders down. Take that inhale, exhale now, extend, ball overhead, legs are long, bend back in, we'll go 4 more like this. And last one, long legs, long arms, push the ball toward the legs. Okay, so now my hands are on the outside or the closest part of the ball towards my head. So that part of the ball, I'm pushing my legs in, I'm pushing my hands in. I'm gonna curl up as I roll the ball up toward the toes, pushing my legs forward or pulling them back as I push into the ball and round and lower down. And lift, chin to chest. Use the abs, contracting the abs here as those legs press. And as you chest lift, pushing the ball up to the toes. Go for 3. And here's 2. And this last one we're gonna hold. So press up, pause here, pulse up. Pushing into the ball, pressing the legs to the ball. Rib cage pulling tight, exhale, chin tucked. 2, 1, bend the knees, roll it down. Set that ball aside. We're gonna take the ball out to the side. We're gonna bring our feet and our legs on top of the ball in a tabletop position, all right? So I'm hugging the ball, using my heels, kind of pulling it toward my sitting bones and hugging it behind my hamstrings. My arms are gonna go wide. My shoulders will be open. You can go palms up if you want, or palms down for more support. And you're just gonna let the knees tip right in line with the hips. So I'm going to the right, my left hip is lifting. Don't worry about how far you go. Just hug into the ball as you exhale, draw the ball back to center. And think of this more, we're going the other way, so we'll alternate. Kind of more of a stretch here, but then turning on those obliques to bring the ball back to center. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Just alternating, kind of finding that little stretch. But as you bring the knees back to center, you're exhaling and really trying to get all the air out of the lungs. Ribs pull together and belly is tight. 2 more each side. And if you have a bony pelvis on this floor, sometimes the hips get a little irritated. So hang in there. And 1 more. And pause. We're going to bring our elbows bent and alongside us. Fingertips are up to the ceiling, shoulders are open. I'm going to start on my left now. So my hands, elbows are going to stay right beside me. I'm going to inhale, dip my knees over to one side, and exhale, pull them back and go the other way. So now you don't have that kind of extra balance. So you might be going smaller. And the other way. And we're going to add a little pressure to this. So as I dip my knees to the left, I'm going to push into my left elbow as I draw my knees back to center. Okay, and then release it. Inhale, dip to the right. Push down into that right elbow. Draw the legs back to center on that exhale. Inhale. So the knees are dipping to the left. I'm pushing into my left elbow, really feeling kind of that bigger connection with that little push into the elbow. Last one on the left. And we'll finish on the right. Pushing down into that right, hold it here and pause. We're going to extend the arms up to the ceiling, pull the shoulders down, okay? You're going to repeat. We're going to start on the right. So you're going to dip to the right. This is way harder, okay? So don't worry about how big you go. Exhale, bring it back to center. So you have no balance now to kind of use. Yeah. I know, right? Don't go fast. Don't go big. Big is not always better. Exhale. Inhale, dipping. Exhale, bring it back. Let's go 1 more each side. Inhale. And other way. Good. So you got a little stretch, a little warm up of the obliques. We're going to extend the legs long. The ball is going underneath our feet, our heels, our ankles. Maybe the heels are right on the top of that ball. All right. So you've got your legs extended. You're kind of finding that top of the ball with the heels. I'm going to have you bring your left leg to a tabletop, all right? Hands are going to come behind the head. My elbows are going to go wide. So my right leg is now extended over the top of the ball, and I want to bring that ball kind of centered underneath that leg, all right, underneath my right leg. So my left knee is bent. I'm going to take that inhale, and as I exhale, I'm going to roll up, rotating toward that left knee, looking down to the floor, pushing down into the ball, and then inhale, roll it down. Exhale, roll up. Inhale, roll down. Exhale, roll up. So we're keeping the ball still, keeping a little push down into that leg. It's on top of the ball, just for that little extra connection to the oblique on the opposite side. The next time we roll up, I'm going to have you extend that left leg to the ceiling. Roll up, extend. Inhale back to tabletop, roll it down. Exhale, as you rotate, keep the elbows wide. Okay. Try not to pull on the head, look down to the floor. Okay. And number 3. And here's 2. And last one. From here, the leg is going to lower as the chest lowers. Tap the ball. Exhale, roll up and rotate. Inhale, lower. Exhale, tucking the chin and looking to the floor, keeping the ball as still as you can. And over 3. And we have a finale. I shouldn't have said it too. And hold it on this last one and pause right here. You're going to pull the ball in with that right leg and you're going to stretch it out. And you're going to pull it in. And you're going to stretch it long. And that left leg is reaching to the ceiling. And you're pulling the right hip down. 2. And last one. And lower down and take a quick breath. Okay, that one sneaks up on you a little bit, doesn't it? That little buildup, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what happened? Okay, I'm moving the ball over to my left side underneath my left leg, like calf, heel area, right on top of the ball. I'm going to bring my right knee up to a tabletop. I'm going to try to anchor my pelvis, and especially that left side. So as I roll up to the right, I really want to pull down into that left side, and I want to push into the ball. So I'm rotating up to the right tabletop leg, and inhale, roll it down. And exhale, and try to find how you connect. So for me, I just have to feel like I'm really looking down, almost reaching my left shoulder over to my right knee. On this side, it's easier for me to find my connection. I don't know why. Elbows are wide. Exhale. Inhale down. Let's go for 4. Try not to pull on the head. Keep the fingers just cradling the head. And you got 2. Tucking the chin, looking down to the floor. And 1. Keeping that ball still. And the next time you roll up, we'll extend the right leg as you rotate. And it's really hard to talk when I do that. And we're going to go for 5. And 4. And chin to chest. 3. And 2. And 1. Now we're going to lower the long leg down as we roll down. Lift it up as we rotate. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Straight leg comes up. And here's 2. And last one on this side, and you're going to hold it here. So leg is long, extended, belly tight. Pull the ball in with the opposite leg, staying lifted, and send it out. Pull it in, a little push into that heel. Open those elbows up, stay lifted. 3. Pushing down will help a little to connect. 2. And last one. And bring the ball in. Hug it in toward the back side of the leg and just take a quick break. All right, let's bridge. Let's undo some of that tension if you have any. Okay, so I'm going to find, again, walking the ball out, I'm going to find the top of that ball with my feet. Okay, so my heels are kind of closer toward my glutes. My toes are maybe up at the top of the ball. I'm kind of hugging with my feet into the ball, and I'm in a tabletop position in a neutral spine. I'm going to start with that exhale, and I'm going to imprint that low back down. So on that exhale, I'm pulling my ribs, trying not to push into my feet, and then I'm inhaling, releasing. So I'm just letting that hip or pelvis kind of rock back, using my belly to do that, not pushing into my feet. Exhale, rock back. For 2, just opening up that low back and kind of going opposite of that neutral spine. So now we're curling. And this last one, you're going to hold it and pause, keeping the ball as still as you can. You're going to roll up into that bridge. And it's a big one. and it's high. You're reaching the knees over the toes, over the top of that ball, pushing down into the feet, trying to stabilize here. Take an inhale, belly tight. Exhale, roll down, keeping the ball still. Yes. All right. Adjust if you need to. Now you know what you're doing, right? So we're going to go exhale, imprint first, then pushing down, straight down into that ball so it's not pushing away. Roll it up, squeeze your glutes together as much as you can. Push down into those heels and then roll it down nice and slow. And go up one more time. Exhale, shoulders are nice and open. Arms can be wide. Pushing down into the heels. You're going to roll down one bone at a time. I'm going to let my left leg just kind of rest over the top of the ball. I'm going to pull my right knee in toward my chest. And we'll go for a little hamstring stretch. So I'm going to have you extend that leg. Right leg is extended from a bent knee. You're drawing that leg in toward the body, and you're just letting that left leg rest over the top of the ball. We're going to bend that right knee. We'll go up one more time. Exhale as you stretch it out and add that little flex. As you flex, push that hip down to the mat. So you're pushing the right hip down as much as you can to the floor. You're going to bend, and we'll go to the other side. So right leg is just resting, left knee pulls into the chest. From that knee bend, we're going to stretch it straight out. Draw the leg a little closer, as close as you feel comfortable here. Just work your way into a bigger stretch. And bend. Exhale. Draw it a little closer. Push that hip or push the pelvis to the floor. Add that little flex. And then nice and slow, bring the ball back in. All right, so from here, I'm going to have you guys roll onto your right side or facing me, whatever side that is for you. I'm going to go to my right side, and I'm just going to keep the ball under that top leg, okay? So as I roll onto my right hip, and you know, you guys, I hope I can explain it well without you guys seeing past these big, gigantic balls. Okay, so I want you to have the bottom knee bent, okay, and it's more forward up your mat, so your heel should kind of line up with that bottom sitting bone. And then my left top leg is going to go long over the top of the ball, okay? And maybe it's just under the ankle, all right? And I want you to try to keep a flex of that top foot. And I want you to try to keep pressure into the ball, all right? So then remembering the principles here, your waistline is lifted, right? Your neck is long, your head is resting on that bottom arm. Arm can be long or bent, okay? So now I'm gonna line my right or bottom knee, point it to the ball, okay? So you're shifting that knee underneath you, pointing it right to the center of that ball that's right at the end of your knee there. And we're gonna lift that bottom knee up. And we're going to lower it down. So you may have to adjust a little, right? Lift it up and lower it down. So as I'm lifting my bottom knee up to my top, I'm pushing into that top foot. Okay. So you've got that counter kind of balance and pressure, but you're trying to keep light in that waistline and trying really hard not to let that ball roll back and forth. So your shin is almost trying to skim that ball. So Anne, bring your shin closer toward your ball, bend that knee. Press. Squeeze it up. Good, trying to keep the hips still. So as I'm lifting that bottom knee up to the top, I'm thinking of pushing that top hip away. Using that ball as kind of a slide to slide my leg over the top. 4. And here's 3. Squeeze it up. Let the leg be heavy. Just use that inner thigh. There's 2. And last one. And this next time we lift the knee, we're going to hold it here, okay? So knee is lifted as high as you can make it. Push down into that top leg. Shift the knee back and bring it forward. So your hand on your hip or on the floor for support, or if you want to extend to the ceiling for even extra balance challenge, just try to skim that bottom knee up against that top knee. So we're squeezing that leg back, trying to stay balanced on the pelvis. 3, and 2, and 1. Lower that knee down. We're going to bring the ball in a little bit closer, and you're going to push the top of your foot, the top foot, into that ball, okay? So I'm going to be more on the side, inside part of the foot that's on the top of the ball, okay? And I'm going to have that knee bent. My hand is holding my hip. I'm lifted in my waistline. I'm going to push into the ball as I close that top knee, and then press into the ball to open the knee. Inhale. So you're using the ball to push down into to get a deeper connection to that inner thigh of the top leg. So this is inner thigh work still. We're just doing the top leg now, and we're going to reverse it, of course. Exhale, push it up, or press it up, I should say. Press down to lift that knee. Go for 4. And exhale. And you got 2 more. Doesn't have to be big here. And last one. Good. And I'm going to pull that knee, or sorry, pull that ball in, and I'm going to switch sides. All right. Let's go super quiet. Is that good or bad? Okay. So I'm laying down on my left side now, left hip. My top leg is extended. Okay. So my top leg extended over the apex of the ball with a flex of my ankle. Okay. Now I'm going to line my knee up, bottom knee, kind of line it up with the top knee, right? So I'm pointing my bottom knee right into the ball. So it's all lined up. I've got my hand on my hip, or you can stabilize with the hand on the floor. I'm as straight as I can be from ankle to shoulder to crown of the head. I'm going to push down into the top of the ball to lift that bottom knee up. Exhale, squeeze it up. Exhale, squeeze. So I'm trying to stay still on the top of the ball, trying to keep a little flex of that ankle and pushing down as I lift and squeeze, keeping my belly tight. I'm going to go for that hand to the hip to start here. So top hand on the hip, trying to stay light in my ribs and pulling my belly in. And exhale. And exhale. And 4. And 3. Squeezing, pushing down as you lift that knee up. And here's your last one. Hold the knee up as high as you can, push it back. So for me, I'm going to add that arm up to the ceiling. So my bottom knee is lifted. I'm trying to skim that bottom thigh up to the top, maybe. Think of that. Push it back. Trying to stay balanced in the hips, okay? 2 and 1. Let that bottom knee rest. Bring the top foot up to the top of the ball. So I'm going to the inside of that top foot, okay? My knee is on a diagonal, maybe where the wall meets the ceiling. I'm going to push down into that top foot as I close the knee and open. So just find the place for you that works. Okay, as you push down into the top of the ball, you're closing that knee and pulling it open. So you've got a lot of pressure here to turn on muscles, just to activate. Exhale, squeeze it open. Inhale, squeeze it open. Over 3. Here's 2. And 1. Good. And close it up. And let's do a quick stretch. All right. Come on up, nice and slow. Getting into, we'll let go of the ball and just try to keep it close to you, somewhere near you. Cross one ankle in front, and probably if you worked that left leg first, let's bring the left leg in front, or the left leg was on top of the ball. Let's bring that one forward first. Sit up as tall as you can. We're going to hinge, so kind of just creasing at that hip joint in a flat back, and we're going to walk our hands out in front of us, and we're just going to let our head fall, and you're going to push into the floor to really push the hips back out behind you. I know, I'll help you with that ball that's rolling away. And walk the hands back in, sit up tall, or uncross the legs and go the other way. And it doesn't really matter which way you cross them. Just get into that glute however you can. Sit up tall. Hinge at that hip joint. Okay, so you got that crease, and then hands come down, Walk your hands out, push that low back open. So you're trying to curl into the low back as you push the hips out behind you. And then walk the hands back in. And we have one more fun thing to do. Okay, let's do it. I didn't want to keep you on the top of the ball for very long, so now we're going back to that, okay? So we're going to come down to that kneeling, kind of standing on our knees. We'll come off our knees. We won't be there long. And you're going to just walk yourself back to the edge of the mat. And you'll find where you like to be for this work. So I'm going to roll over the top, okay? And then I want the ball to be underneath my thighs, okay? So then from here, I'm going to make that tripod again, okay? My legs, my thighs are extended over the top of the ball. I'm on that kind of tripod, elbow bent, forearm position. Forehead can come right down to the top of the hands. You can leave it elevated, whatever works for you. I'm going to stay still in my upper body. I'm going to keep my spine as flat and long as I can as I pull the ball toward my forehead, arcing my hips up, pushing down into the ball, and then extending it away, okay? So kind of like a pike. So you're pushing down into the ball to pull it in toward the elbows, okay? The farther the ball away from you is, the more work it'll be. So if you want to adjust and bring it down to the shins, kind of lower than the knees, maybe you can do that. But I want you to use the belly and really send those hips up to the ceiling. Okay, let's go for 4. So just creating maybe that upside down pyramid shape, or pyramid shape, not upside down. Triangle. And last one. Good. Now I'm going to have you come up to the hands. Okay, we're going to straighten the arms, and we're going to do the same thing. And now we're going to be long arms. So that was your little warm up. So from here, if you want that extra work, you shift the ball down more toward the shins. Maybe do here because I want to. All right. So my ball is kind of my knees down toward my ankles. Same work here. So I'm as flat as a plank, right? I'm pushing away from the floor. My neck is long. And I'm going to exhale, pulling the ball toward my elbows and then sending it out. So you're pushing down to send those hips up and just fool around with how big you want to go. Right? And how long the spine is. The head kind of goes tucking between the biceps as you pull the ball in. We'll go for 3. And here's 2. And last one. Good. And roll yourself back. Come off that ball. And we didn't do push-ups. Sorry, ladies. Okay, let's sit with our legs open, the ball between our legs, and we're going to stretch. And this is my most unfavorite stretch, by the way, so don't pay attention to how terrible I am at this. My legs open this way really hurts me. Okay, so you're seated tall. We're going to walk the ball over toward the right, and you're going to push it away, okay? And as you press the ball out, just push it as far as you feel comfortable toward that right foot or out past that right foot. Trying to pull the opposite hip down and then walk the ball in, and we'll go to the other side, okay? So as I press away on the left side, dropping my chest toward that left thigh, I'm trying to push and anchor my right hip down, okay? I'm feeling a stretch in a lot of places. And I'm going to round and come in. I want to go one more time over to the right. Reach it away. Rock the chest, maybe going a little deeper. Opposite hip is pushing away. Round and come in one more time to the other side. Reach as far away as you can. Bring that ball in. From here, I'm going to have you just set that ball aside. Okay. You're just going to do a couple roll downs, roll ups without any ball. Okay. Throw them away. You're done. You can bounce them to the back if you want. All right. So we're seated as tall as we can. And I'm just going to find my sitting bones. Okay. So I'm as tall Spine is up against a wall. I'm gonna take that inhale and I'm gonna start thinking of almost shifting that ball forward like it's underneath me. Tailbone going between the thighs as I roll myself down, nice and slow. Slow it down in that funny little curved part of the spine. And then arms come up to the ceiling. And I'm gonna roll myself up again on an exhale. So first the chin comes to the chest and the arms lower. Now connect deep with that belly. Roll it up. It's super hard when you've been working out. Forward fold over the legs. Stretch as long as you can. Rebuild the spine. Sit up tall. Arms reach forward. We're going down again. Exhale. Scoop out the belly. Tucking the tail. Pulling those shoulders down and back. Slowing it down when you get to that little natural curve in the spine. And we'll go up one more time. Exhale. Round. Roll it up. Good job. Pull the belly in. Good. Okay. So let's do one more thing here. So I'm going to have you guys bend your elbows at your rib cage. Palms are going to go up. You're still seated tall, okay? Back up against the wall. Take that inhale. As you exhale, I want you to reach the arms long, rotate the palms down toward the floor, rounding and curling the spine, okay? So as I'm reaching over my toes, I'm pulling my belly and my ribs back. Now I'm going to hinge, straighten out my back, my spine, hinging at the hips, come up nice and tall. Arms come out to a T, elbows bend again, palms rotate up. We're going to do that 2 more times. So as you reach past the toes, the palms rotate to the floor. I'm reaching away as I'm pulling my belly back. Now I'm going to lengthen my spine, hinging at that hip joint, coming up nice and tall, arms up, arms to a T, elbows bend, palms up. We'll go a little more like that. Push away, rotate palms down, pulling the ribs back, pulling the belly in. Now lengthen that spine. Biceps are on the outer part of the ears as you come. Sit up tall. And now you guys are finished. Good job.
Thank you.